Okay, so I'm Annie. I can't see any of you now, but I think having seen people before, that I've seen quite a few. I know quite a few of you, especially in SCBA, but others as well. For those who don't know me, I wear a number of hats, and I've been regional minister with SCBA and worked with the WebNet team. But I'm also a pioneer on the ground in Swindon. So I'm part of WebNet as a minister, and I've been on home mission for a lot of years. We've just come off it, so praise God for that. But so I've been in the position of being reliant upon the generosity of others within our associations to help us do what we're called to do. I'm still on the ground doing local work. So I appreciate how difficult it is. I'm not coming at you from some ivory tower. I'm Pioneer Ambassador for the Baptist family now as well. And I'm doing some academic work. So some of what I'm going to share with you today comes out of my own experience. It comes out of practical research I've done. It comes out of a bit of an academic research that I've done. So I hope that's me. And it's really weird not being able to see any of you, only being able to see myself. But here we go. We'll press on in. So we're going to think today about leadership succession, particularly thinking about kind of looking around. I can see certainly in this room, and I know some of you who've been on the screen I saw earlier have kind of been the founding leaders of something. You might be the initial founding leader of something, or you might have come into a situation and kind of restarted something, and you're the person, or you are the people here at the moment who are kind of like pushing that forward. I can only speak for myself, but I'm not getting any younger. I am the founding person of where I am, and I'm very conscious that I won't be there forever. And one of the things that I think we're passionate about, and the reason why I've been asked to speak about this today, is how do we ensure that things carry on kind of beyond us? What do we put in? I was very conscious right from when I first started in Swindon on the housing estate that I'm at, that I needed to think about what happened in the future and how am I building up some contingency and some capacity for this to carry on post Ali. I come with a big caveat that I'm not an expert. I haven't got all the answers, and I've made as many mistakes as the next person, okay? So we're looking at wisdom in the room as much as I'm not coming and saying this is the right answer. I'm coming and saying this is some of the thinking I've done. This is some of what I've gained through my own work. This is some of what I've gained through talking to other people. You are very welcome to disagree with me. You're welcome to, but what I hope is what I bring is a stimulus for your thought and your conversation and you deciding what is right. What is right in one context is going to be different in another context as well. So I come with all of those caveats. I also thought we've all given up our Saturdays. We do want to have a little bit of fun, don't we? So at this point, I will also hopefully put my camera on here as well. And hopefully Carl will also spotlight my second one. Can you do that for me, Carl? Just thinking. Anyway, you can see before you that we've got a table full of cards. And we are going a bit, we're going to have 4 teams, and we are going to make, here we go. Oh, I need to turn it around the other way, because at the moment you can just see me, and that's not very helpful. Just one moment, guys. Turn my camera around. Here we go. So, yeah. So we can see on here that we've got these, and we're going to be in teams in the room. And the teams in the room are going to be connected with you're going to join teams in the room who'll move you. We've got 4 counters, and we're going a bit old school Monopoly here. So our first counter is the house, and I've got that because I'm on a new housing estate. Some of you are on established housing estates. Houses and where people live are important. I'm going to ask if Alice and Phil. I am a woman of a certain age. My brain is all over the place. You might want to shut the back
Yeah.
You're going to be team house, okay? Our next counter is a smiley face. We use this in it's one of the things that we use in our pioneer thing that we throw around when people are to talk about where we've smiled. Leslie Newbegin talks about mission being unsuppressed joy. And this is about mission being unsuppressed joy here. And so we've got that. Do you want to be can I put you two in a team?
Yeah,
Can you be unsuppressed joy? I've got here a tuk-tuk that my daughter brought when she was on mission in India for a year. And so I brought a tuk-tuk. Can I make you guys a tuk-tuk team? Can you head that up? Thinking about mission being around. And then I thought, in a nod to, what do you call it? Monopoly. Oh, I hope my brain's going to start behaving itself. I thought we'd have this is heavy actually. Can I give you the iron? Now, Carl, can you give me a view of the whole screen a minute so I can see everyone? Because what we're going to do is people are going to choose their teams. So what we need is people to choose to be house. We need a mixture of people from SCBA. So if you'd like to choose your team to be house, and you can write in the chat box who you are. So for your discussions later, it's good to have a mixture of people from each of the associations in each of the 4 teams. So put in the chat box if you're going to be house. We need some people to be tuk-tuk. I have no idea how you spell tuk-tuk.
T-U-K.
Yeah, you can write van if you want to, if that's just easier. So, yeah, exactly. You've got van team. You can be smiley. We'll call that joy. We'll call that joy team. So, right, if you're going to be joy, and then iron. Okay? Because in a moment we are going to we're going to progress through our game, and when each team is going to make the decision, we'll need to all be on the screen, Carl, so people from that team can help the team leaders here decide which of the options you're going to choose if we are going to make the very best choices in planning for succession. Can I see a thumbs up if you're with me? Okay, great. I mean, some of you, that's good. Let's see how we go. So, brilliant. We've got some house, we've got some joy, we've got some tuk-tuks going on. Brilliant. Hopefully we've got a nice selection. Don't you love hybrid? Right then. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to get. It's okay, people in the room, that you're you're going to be on screen some of the time. I hope no one's hiding there. It is a bit late for that. I mean, you're on already, but I hope no one's hiding their identity or on the run from the law or anything. So if you are, it might be the time. It might be the time to exit now. So. John, I'm looking at you to start with because you're at the end. Could you please turn over? Hello, John. This is John, everyone.
Hiya.
Carl, you might want to, if you want to go back to the 2. I'm sorry, there's lots of work for you in this, Carl. I'm being very bossy. Sorry. If you want to go back to that's it. Here we go. So here's a turn over the first thing, which is not going to surprise you. Says the word start. So this is where we're starting from. Now, what I'd like is one person from each team to read out one of these cards. If you're not happy with reading, I'm sure Alistair will jump in and read out loud. So, Alice, do you want to come and grab one of these first cards in this first? We got a first row. This is going to be like the first stepping stone. So, if one of you two grab, if you put start down on the table now. That was done with that little minute. If you grab one of these 4 cards to read out loud, just one of you. You take that one. Could you cross one? What's your name?
Yeah, Steve.
Steve. So Steve's got that. Okay. Right. What they're going to do is they're going to read out the first line, and you have to decide. They're just reading random ones, but you're going to decide as a team which one of these you would go for if you want really good succession planning. So, Alice, I'm starting with you.
Okay.
could you read us what that says?
Your succession planning means ensuring someone with a call to leadership joins the team to catch the vision from the existing team stroke leader.
Okay, so your first option that you might want to choose is that you call somebody particularly to your team in leadership who's going to carry on, catch the vision and carry on when the first leader leaves. Steve, could you read us the second card?
Your succession planning means mentoring a young member of the core team for future leadership.
Okay, so you might have someone already. When I say core team, some of these are written in quite a pioneering sort of a way. You might have a diaconate or a leadership team. Let's be very generous about our use of language, okay? I use these in different contexts, so they don't be put off by the fact they're a bit pioneering. Use, sort of change it for your context. And when I say core team, this might be someone who's come to faith in your area, who you're nurturing and has become part of your leadership, or it might be an existing Christian who's younger and you're nurturing up. Okay, Fiona, could you read us the next one?
Your succession planning involves the team forming a vision and calling a new pioneer to assume leadership.
Okay, so if you turn it round, so people can see as well. So if you put to this camera, that's it. So this is about the team, which might be the diaconate or your leadership team. That might be, well, actually, it's about us. We're going to work as a team and call somebody new in. Okay, and the last one, you happy to read? Sorry, I don't know your name. Jill is going to read us the last one.
Your succession planning means calling someone new to take over from the first generation pioneer when they leave.
Okay, so this is almost like a clean start where you say, we're actually going to really sort of start again. We're going to call someone completely new. This has been more of the way in which traditional churches have worked in the past, that one person leaves, they go right away. We have what we used to call an interregnum and now call a pastoral vacancy, and then we call someone new in who comes with their vision. And it's kind of like starting afresh in a new way. Okay, we're going to let each team is going to get a chance at going first to choose one. House team is going first. I'm going to get Carl to show everybody. And House, you have to decide of those 4 options, which do you think is best? I'm going to recap them for you because Phil looks completely like rabbit in the headlights.
No change, sir.
So you've got 4 options, and in a minute, house people can unmute and you can help Phil and Alice decide which one is going to be best. So we've got a choice of bringing someone new to join the existing leader to catch the vision and take over later. And in my context, that some of you will know where I am in Swindon. And a while back, when I started doing regional ministry stuff, we called Owen. Owen joined us. We are working alongside one another as co-ministers. And there's a whole lot we can talk about funding and things like that. That's a bit later. I live by faith, so that's how that works. And we work alongside each other, and he's a little bit younger than me. He'd like to say he's a lot younger than me. And so he's been kind of journeying with us. This one, if we remember the bringing a young member of the core team, we've done this in 2 ways. We've got people who are Christians who are part of us, who have kind of come into leadership. So some of you will know Helen, who's part of our team, who came as a Christian. She's gone off now to Bristol Baptist College and is working, and she's another quite a few years younger than Owen. We also have my daughter, who's been on the estate since she was 13. She's gone off and done a theology degree and is now back in and is part of our leadership, and she is another 10 years younger than Helen. So we've sort of got some age stuff. We've also got people who come to faith and have come into leadership with us. And that's been both worked really well and really badly. And that's the truth of it. We've made some monumental mistakes at bringing people into leadership too soon or not supporting them enough. We've also had some wonderful ways in which this has worked brilliantly. And one of our new Christians who we baptised a few years ago is our church secretary, and she's gone off and done some theological level 3 training. So there's some things there. This one involves the team forming a vision. There's quite a few people certainly within the two associations that I know best, where in the research I did, there's been a team that has kind of continued to hold the same vision. So they might have called in somebody else new to lead, but there's been a really strong core team there who said, this is our vision and this is what we've got. And I know certainly within FCBA and within WebNet, there are definitely places where the team has held it. And then the last one is where we say, actually, we're starting something. We're kind of like bringing in somebody new. The person is gone and we're bringing in somebody new to kind of start again. And that's almost like a replant or a new idea, especially if you kind of feel that something has reached the end of its life and you want something new. So does that recap them all?
Did we miss it, that one?
No, we did that one
Sorry.
first. So if your house team, you can unmute. I don't know if Carl can show us, everybody. We can unmute and see which of those 4 options, you're going first this time, which of the 4 options would house team like to take and put their counter on?
I'm looking desperately at the screen, hoping that someone.
Yeah, hoping somebody in the screen is going to have a good idea. We can't yet see the screen. In a minute, we might be able to see everyone. I'm working Carl a bit too hard here, sorry. So if your house, unmute and say which of those 4 options would you like? You could also put it in the chat if you want to say. Anyone like to unmute and speak?
Number 2.
Option 2. So we've got some people who'd like this
available.
one. Yeah, it is available. You're just big readers. So you'd quite like mentoring a younger member of the team, employer pioneer, which is the first, I think the first one. Anyone else got a different idea of what they would like? You can speak or write in the
Sorry,
yes, I can hear.
I may need to retract
on,
my
Darren.
number 2. What's number 2 again, please?
Number 2 was mentoring a younger member of the team for leadership later when they get to it.
No, I retract my 2.
Oh,
Okay, Darren, which one would you like?
I wanted to bring somebody in new to work alongside.
So that's option
Yeah,
1.
That's
No,
one.
that's option 1. Bringing someone in. That's your one.
No, it's
Yeah.
ours.
So bringing in someone new to work alongside
Yes.
is option 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. House team. Phil and Alice, do you have any thoughts? Which one you'd like?
probably different thoughts. So Phil, you.
Yeah, you say Phil. What would you think?
From brief recollection, I thought they were all potentially valid.
Yeah, I think they're all valid.
Sort of developing a team on the ground indigenously is ideally the way.
So
you
you'd
want
like
to go.
option 2.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
2 it is.
Was that
So
Steve's
didn't like
option?
yes. So
That
Phil
was my
would
consent-
be that was
my
your spot.
starting one.
So you've got to decide, house team, whether you would like to employ a pioneer to be alongside, or this is all you've got to think about finance as well in the middle of this. Does that give you longer sustainability, or does bringing in a younger member, nurturing someone younger in the core team? Which would you like? House. So house people, I want you to wave at me if you'd like option 1, which is bringing in a new pioneer. Wave at me if your house. Can't see the house. Yeah, are you up for that, Sam? That's bringing in someone new, and Darren was that. Or if you're a house team and you'd like to mentor a younger member or an Indigenous person and then bring them into leadership. Oh, I'm not saying any. I think house team, we're going to say you're doing number 1. So put your thumb, put your house on it. Okay, let's go for tuk-tuk team.
Right.
We go tuk-tuk. I've gone through them all. Which of the options would you like? Unmute if you're tuk-tuk. And what have we got? Any thoughts in the room here from Fiona and John about which of the remaining? Oh, sorry, and Rich.
Right.
Which of the remaining ones? We'll put this on here. I'm going to your counters. Which of the remaining ones would you like?
One of 3. No?
Yeah, you got 1 of 3 options.
Team Joy. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you're on this team. So
Okay.
you have to choose
That's what you're
which.
choosing.
That's what
You're
I'm choosing.
okay.
Yeah, it's
So
just-
Rich would like Indigenous leaders. Okay, that gone, Mike. I can see that Michael Shaw said he wants to employ another pioneer to be alongside, but that option's gone. The first team took that.
Young
We've
person.
now got mentoring a younger or Indigenous member of the team. You've got
forming a vision and calling a pioneer.
yeah, the team for forming the vision and holding the vision, like I know some have done, or kind of starting afresh with a new person and a new vision. Somebody wants to speak on screen, go for it.
Raise my hand.
Are you saying this is now for us? And it's very confusing about what you're wanting us to envision. Are we in a new position? Are we where we are as a church? What is it?
You're where you are. You're where you are now, and you're imagining that your leadership. You're thinking when this leadership comes to an end, how will our vision and our mission continue where we are? How are you going to make sure that there's planning going in?
Yeah, please be up. Ready? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
What I would do is I would have somebody local and have a certain set of skill sets for him to develop. And if they can't develop those, I'll else.
Oh, I can't quite catch what you're saying. Sorry.
I'll first.
Yeah.
I'll go for the
cutting out.
I'll go for the third option.
Third option,
Which is this
which is the team of the diaconate holding the vision, the ongoing vision, yeah,
and then calling a pioneer.
and calling a pioneer and calling a new pioneer to assume leadership. Is that? Are you happy if we go for that one?
Yep.
Okay. If you put yours down, then I'll put
That's
your
the
yours. I'll put this. That's the tuk-tuks. We're going on to Joy now. If you're part of the Joy team, you've got mentoring a younger member or an Indigenous member of the core team, or you've got kind of replanting, starting again, bringing a new person in to start a new work. What would you like? We've got Ruth and Steve in the room. Which would you be keen on?
I like the one Joy. That one. Yeah.
You'd like,
Ruth
they'd
wants
like
to go
to mentor somebody, a younger person within either the community, the existing Christian community, or somebody who's come to faith. If you're part of, well, Leslie would like to start again with a completely new leader.
Don't blame her.
Anybody else got anything they'd like to put in the chat? Or we've got a completely start again, or we've got carry on the vision with mentoring an Indigenous local leader.
That's Leslie Perry. Huh? Leslie Perry. I'm sure. Start again.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, which do you think? We've got Ruth and Steve in the room. We've got one opinion, and we've got starting again with another one. What do you reckon?
I'm just going to back Ruth. We're going to be a united front. If she says we're going youth team, youth system, we didn't pump all that money into the youth system for nothing, and we want a return on our investment.
Straight talking.
Leslie, you happy? I think we're going for that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
God bless you, Leslie.
Okay, that means that Iron.
I got the deal done.
You got the deal done. We got to do that for each of the things. So Iron is taking that you're going to kind of start again. So that's something to really think around. If you think at the end of this, for what we're doing now, we're going to kind of restart, then we'll put that one there. We need the iron to go on it. We'll put the iron on there. Okay. Let's look at the next one. We'll have to speed this up slightly. It is more difficult doing hybrid, isn't it? But hopefully you're getting a bit of a chance to think through some of these things. So let me give one of these each to everybody. We've got to decide.
Thank you.
Do you read this one and Phil? Unless Phil doesn't want to read. Okay, so let's start. If you start with reading this time, it's going to be your choice to go first as well.
A new leader is found by searching for a new charismatic leader who is passionate about the same spiritual DNA or transmitting
or
transmitting the spiritual call and charisma from the original leader to a new leader through a religious ritual.
Okay, that's really long. I'm just going to summarize that down. The reason that that's so long is that this comes from one of the things that somebody called Max Weber, who's a sociologist, he talks a lot about how you pass on. So he says charismatic leader. For that we mean founding person. So how you pass on a new leader is found by finding another of those founder leader who's got that kind of or charisma, but who is passionate about the same DNA. And by DNA I mean like the same vision. So a new leader is going to come in and go, yeah, well, I am another pioneer, really, or kind of like really strong founding leader. I'm coming in new, but I'm following on the same DNA. So we might see that a little bit within my situation, that some people coming in are actually quite pioneering and quite foundery type people, but they're already committed to what the vision is. So they're carrying on with it, but they're pioneering new things within that. Okay, let's have a look. Ruth, what have you got?
A new leader is found by waiting for God to provide a new leader.
Okay, if you just hold that up on the screen so people can read it. So by this, I mean that we kind of wait for God to move without us doing a lot of human stuff. Part of my role as a pioneer ambassador is I feel like I'm a bit of a dating agency for missional and pioneering type situations. So I have people phone me up or email me and they'll say, I feel a call to this sort of thing. I don't know where to go with it, but I feel like God is saying I should be moving to a new housing estate or moving on to a council estate or going to this rural place. And I don't really know what to do. And so I'm phoning you. And I go, well, I don't know what to do either, but let's pray and wait. Time and time again, what has happened in these situations is that somebody else is phoning and saying, as a church or as a situation, we really feel like we need to call someone to this housing estate, to this council estate, to be this chaplain in this place, and we just don't know where to look. And I'm able to go, wow, God is doing his thing again. And so we can't make this happen. But this does just seem to happen. Sometimes we just go, well, we're not going to do anything except we're going to pray that God, or, you know, or when I say don't do anything, people contact me. So it might be contacting people, but in a very much just waiting to see what might God do here. Okay, the third one.
A new leader is found through selection by spiritually gifted leadership and recognition by the community.
Tickets.
No.
Oh, okay.
Timothy Spotswood has got you're unmuted.
Something to watch it.
Thank you. Yeah, let's do that one again.
A new leader is found through selection by spiritually gifted leadership and recognition by the community.
Okay, so if you'd like to turn that one around so people can read it as well on the screen. No, if you turn it to my phone, that's it. Brilliant. So that is a bit more kind of what we might do in a more traditional setting, that you've got, you go through selection, you've got your leadership team, and they were trusting them for their gifts to suggest someone, and then that is recognised by the community as a whole, which is quite kind of the way we sort of often done things Baptist-wise. And Phil has.
A new leader is found by the outgoing leader or by passing the leadership on to the offspring of the leader on the understanding that spiritual call has been passed on.
Okay, could you turn around thing? Oh, I heard a lot of in the room. This is a bit of a controversial one, but I put it in. Again, it comes out of academic work that's been written, but also out of practice. So we will know The Lion King, yes. For those of you who are getting your biblical inspiration from The Lion King, or those guys, then it's there. But also we see this, we might want to think about some of the big high profile things. If you think about Spring Harvest, someone like Gavin Culver, Clive Culver and Gavin Culver. I'm going to leave you to decide whether these are good or bad models. I'm just saying we might have seen it in Billy Graham and Franklin Graham. So on those, some of those big things. For those who are more, rather than those things are more green belty, I've seen some of the children of original trustees and now trustees of something like that. Within my situation, whilst, first of all, could we say that we're Baptists? So when we say about the leader, choosing someone, obviously, as Baptists, that's never done in an authoritarian way, is it? It's done this seems to be, the outgoing leader might say, there's this person, obviously is then discerned by the whole group. So we don't impose, do we? That's not who we are. But I mentioned my daughter earlier, and I see a passion within her for our estate where she's lived since she was 13. Right back when she was 13, she felt a call from God as part of, or we, explored that together as a family. And it's something that emerges in her. It won't go straight from me to her because there's other people in between, but that might be the case. And I think as Baptists, we go a bit like, ooh, we don't do the passing on to children, but sometimes we do have people who have been really immersed in this. And I know on the screen, there's children of pioneers and people out there who are now pioneering because they've picked it up and they've really, so that could be, or it could be that your leader, you as leaders are really nurturing someone where you get a sense of, wow, God is really bringing them into this place. And it might be that you as a leader recommend to a group and say, actually, this, I've been mentoring this person, and have you thought about them as being the new leader? So obviously, comes with the whole Baptist-y thing. Of course, we discern together, but where is the kind of initial thing kind of coming from? I had a very strong call from God to go to where I am now. And on the day when I was called, and over the next few days, I had lots of words from God. And this was 14 months before I moved. What's the time going? 10 to 11. Before I moved to the estate I'm on. And right back then, 14 months before I moved there, God laid on my heart some people who might continue the work after I'd finished. So thinking about this right at the beginning is really important. Okay, I think what we're going to do time-wise is I'm going to let the people in the room kind of choose, because I think we don't have time to do everything with everyone, for which I apologise, but kind of link into your team and watch what's going on. Tuk get the first choice this time. Of the four, which one would you think you would like to go for and why? Yeah, so almost like a first generation founder coming in again, and
someone like the founder.
Yeah.
And then we've got someone, a family member. Then we've got
not necessarily a family member or someone recommended by the.
Yeah, and then
we've got just waiting and seeing what God does, or we've got the more usual thing, which is where the diaconate or the leadership team select someone and bring it to the community. Speak nice and loudly.
Although I often feel that it's important to remember the original vision, the original calling, I've got a little bit of a question mark about the charisma being passed through to a new leader through religious ritual.
Yes, that's what they were right, and what the Anglican Church would do, wouldn't they? Because they anoint
the laying on of hands.
The laying on of hands. So I put it in brackets because I know it's not very Baptisty.
But I personally am thinking more about waiting upon God, praying and just waiting upon God. But what do the other two of you think?
Those two together, really, but probably that one.
The one where you select someone from recognition from the community. So a spiritually gifted leader.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I agree that more, but
we're going with this. We'll go with this one then, on the understanding that you're going to make sure God is very much part of that, John, obviously. Okay, so we'll take this one, please. So you move your counter onto that one. There's people who go second this time is this team.
Oh.
The others.
Yeah, Alice.
Oh, sorry.
That
That's passing on to someone that the leader recommends. This is waiting on God.
Should we
And
be?
this one is a new.
We're going to stick. We're going to stick. We're going to wait on God. Others wouldn't, but we would.
You're just going to wait and see what God does. Okay. Can we put your? Where's your? Yeah. We're on to the iron. Which one would you like to go for? We've got kind of a new pioneer coming in, but who's sharing the same vision or DNA from before, or somebody who might be part of the team that the existing leader says, nurturing this person. What about this?
What if we don't like what's left?
Well, do you know what? In life, that is sort of what happens, isn't it? We don't always like our options.
And then I don't call it my choice.
Okay, but of the ones that are left, though, what do you think?
Come on, you are. Choose both.
Choose both. Thank you, Neil. Yeah, we want all of them, really.
Yeah.
They've said in the room that they don't like the fact that they've got reduced options. But I don't know how you're finding it pioneering, but I find that my options are reduced all of the time by finance, by people, by resources, by just what's possible. So I'm going to push you for a choice.
I think that there's three that are valid. The first one where it's passing on to a family member.
Yeah.
I'm very dubious about that.
Yeah. I knew everyone would be. Yeah.
But I think the other options have all got value. The problem about it sounds very good. Hope you don't mind me saying this. Sounds very good to say we're waiting on God.
You've only so
very
you've got a choice
spiritual.
of these two.
You bombed that one out, so it's kind of this one.
I think it is this one. You said you don't want them passing on.
All right.
So
Charismatic leader never hurt anyone. You've done a good job.
yeah, you're bringing in a new charismatic leader. Not sure who want to choose. Yeah.
This might come as a bit of a shock to our family.
Yeah, might not necessarily be family. It might be someone else that you're nurturing that you recommend to the next person. Okay, here we go. Let's get some reading of the next ones. Could you give those two out for me? We'll start. Go on then, Ruth.
Succession planning involves a settler, stroke a consolidating leader.
Okay, can you hold it around so people can see? So this is that your next leader, you might have had like a really sort of pioneer, strong founding person. And then Stuart May Williams says, well, the next person, really good if it's more of a settler. He also uses the term pioneer settler or somebody who consolidates and moves on like that. It's not particularly what I've done in my setting, but I sort of wonder if I should have done that more and brought someone in more who could consolidate and could kind of stabilise what's going on. But we might also wonder, do we want to keep on being really missional and pushing out? We want to be careful we don't just go, right, we're fixed now and we'll just stop here. On the other hand, if you're the sort of person like me who's forever looking outwards, it's quite good to also have someone who consolidates what's going on with what you've built already. So that's that one. Yeah.
Succession planning involves another pioneer charismatic leader, and that's Herschel Weber.
Okay. And so again, this is Alan Hirsch says, no, don't settle. I don't know if you've read any Frost and Hirsch stuff. He's saying get another leader who will keep leading you onwards and outwards and doing kind of pioneering, revolutionary type things. And that's Alan Hirsch, and also Weber says that. Let's go over to Fiona.
Succession planning involves the pioneer group leadership or diaconate taking joint leadership.
So this is saying, actually, we're not going to have a new individual leader, especially if your home mission fund has run out. And then you go, well, actually, no, we're going to do this as a team. And we're not going to have a specific one leader. We're going to joint run this as our succession planning. And the last one, Alice.
Mine feels a bit complicated. Succession planning involves a more traditional leader, a prophet to a priest from personal revelation to sacred tradition.
Okay, so this is like saying, well, we've done our pioneering now, and now we're moving over to a more traditional. We've started our church, we've got something going, and we're bringing in someone who might be much more past the teacher at this stage now to work with that. So that's basically what that is. But it's because I've done this in an academic way as well. Okay, sorry. It's because I use this in different contexts. So what do we think? We are starting with the Joy guys this time. What's going to be your choice?
It's only because we've done this, so the pink, the team.
Okay, so they're going for, we've got Joy team. You're not having a new leader. You're going to go with a whole team running it from now on, rather than looking at the individual. Okay, you've got your second now. Which would you? I've been under a lot of pressure. You're doing very, very well.
You've got more choices this time.
Yeah, you've got 3 choices.
I'm really struggling with the concept. I'm sorry to throw in a contrary sort of view, but all of the things we're discussing are methods of leading. And I think what we're missing in terms of discussion, although you said think about your own situation, is the incredible variety of contexts. And even housing estate, council estate, those are 2 massively different contexts. Youth, age, charismatic settle, all of that. And I'm really struggling with escaping from context and just choosing the cards that are on the table, which are about methodology or styles of leadership or styles of ecclesiology, because I'm stuck with context. That's why I'm being Mr. Awkward.
Well, you've raised a good point. What's your name again? Robert, you've raised a good point, Robert, and we're going to be doing exactly that conversation when we break into groups. And some of this is about us thinking about your own context, and I appreciate the way we're doing this doesn't allow for all of the subtlety.
The last time you and I met I was in a completely different context from where I am now, and that's sort of focused my mind quite a lot on these issues, and quite a bit of the secular reading I'm doing at the moment about our context.
I think we'll unpack this when we're in our smaller groups, because context is everything.
Join over there.
Yes. But for the purpose of this exercise,
Pick your favourite colour. Do you like red or green?
we'll get you to choose one.
Well, I used to know Murray Williams, so
he's gone red.
Okay. So he's going to have a consolidating or settling leader. You're next.
Okay.
Of the last 2, which is you have going to like a more of a past teacher, kind of bringing in someone to the church, or going, no, we just want to stay as pioneering as possible.
That's the Herschel.
And that's
succession planning.
Having another pioneer coming in.
I think we go for that one.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're having more of a here's your chapter.
Come in, chapter. So you put the eye in.
Here we are. We've got, we're nearly at the end, guys, because this one that I've got here is all the same. All of them, in the research that I've done and the practice and working practically, I'm not going to get you to read these out, I'll just read it out word. It says that you have, Kev is unmuted and we're hearing your voice. For succession, it says you have core values which are agreed and articulated and used in the discipleship of new Christians, encouraging a sustainable faith community. And I put that for everyone because any sort of succession seems to be having named and understood what it is that you're about and what God is calling you to. So we can move you all on.
Hey.
Right.
So you do that.
Okay.
I think just what we'll do at the end, the last ones are the biblical, perhaps we'll just turn them over here, are the biblical things that go with each of the examples and things that we've looked at. And I think what I'll do is I'll just go along them and you can decide which ones you want to focus on. So we'll start with this one. The biblical example of joining in with the first generation pioneer and gradually taking leadership would be Jesus and his disciples, Paul and Timothy, or Silas, or Paul and his co-workers, where they've passed on. Taking over from the first generation pioneer when they leave, we've got John to Jesus, and interestingly, Max Weber writes quite a lot about whether or not John the Baptist's disciples ever joined in with Jesus. We know that Andrew did, and possibly Peter, but were there people who said, no, we're sticking with John the Baptist, even although all the time John the Baptist has been pointing to Jesus? And then we've got Samuel to King Saul and King David. Things to think about, reflect on there. The emergence of an indigenous leader who then takes leadership when the first one goes. We've got Moses to Joshua and Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, and we'll see there that we've got some passing on of family there as well. And we've got somebody, the original leader, saying, yeah, I'm pointing you in the direction of this new person. And the last one, a biblical thing to kind of unpack, is the remaining team form a vision and act as founding pioneers and call a new pioneer to assume leadership. Is the only biblical example I've got here is Israel calling King Saul.
Goes so well, doesn't it?
Which is an interesting thing. Okay, shall we go on to everyone, Carl? I will take. Yeah. I'm just going to stop the video here. Okay, I can't see myself, but I think I'm on here somewhere.
Top right.
Top right?
That's your
No,
phone.
that's my
your-
phone. Anyway,
We're here somewhere.
can you wave at me if you could follow some of that? Okay, good. You might have the similar questions to questions raised in the room about kind of options that were left and how options are small. But when we think about succession planning, we often don't get our absolute first choice of what we'd like. What we'd love is a whole load of young people who are all bursting at the seams to want to join in and take on. What we've done here is try to think, but what can be some of the things we think about if we want succession, if we want these things that we're involved in, and we want the vision that God has given us for our communities and our context to continue, what might be the things that we need to carry on with? What I'm going to do for the regional ministers on screen is I'll take a picture of these things and send them to you so that you can share screen. And after we will have a coffee break, you'll come back together in your breakout groups on screen, or we'll be here in person, and we'll unpack the different pros and cons of how do we ensure some kind of succession planning and that God continues to work in our context after us. I just want to pray as we finish this. Lord, I pray that you would help us as we wonder about how you want to continue to work in our context. Lord, I pray that you would lead us and reveal your word to us. And whilst we appreciate the difficulties of hybrid and all of that, Lord, will you break through the screen, as it were, and show us what we need to do in order to be able to continue to join in with the mission of God in the places that you've put us. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thanks, Carl. Well, I hope you all had a really good discussion. We had an excellent discussion, thinking about this whole idea of succession, of passing on the baton, about what it might look like. And we kind of acknowledged that the traditional Baptist way of doing things is that one leader or a group of leaders kind of just keeps going, carries the can. And then when they leave, everyone just kind of starts again from scratch. We kind of asked ourselves the question, if the main leader of your situation left tomorrow, how much of it would ground to a halt, or how much would carry on? And so we started to think about what could it look like to think differently, rather than just waiting for the main leader or core group to eventually burn out or get another situation to go to, and then scrambling to start from scratch. I wondered, is that the sort of conversation others had? Has anyone experienced a situation where that wasn't the case, where you've actually had successful succession planning, where the next generation were mentored, brought on board, and it was handed over to in a successful way? Has anyone experienced that working, and how did it work? I can't really see everyone's screens, Carl. So if someone's wet, just unmute yourself and start.
Wait for anyone else.
No, go on, Ruth. Ruth's going to share something.
Yeah, we had that in our situation where some of us were mentored. Our main leader left. We decided not to call another minister, and we have team leadership, and that's been going for another 10 years. And now we're getting to the point where, well, I'm thinking, we're not getting, I'm one of the youngest, we're not getting any younger now. So now we're beginning to think of, well, I am, especially from today, you know, where's the next people coming up from? Yeah, so we were in that situation, and we're team leadership, and it does come with other problems, and other people are drawn back to that. They always, a couple of years ago, they were like, you know, who's the leader? And we were like, well, we're team leadership. So there is that drawing back. People sometimes want a main leader, and they want someone to look up to, and it is quite hard to break away from that model, I found. So it does come with challenges. Yeah, I mean, there's spiritual within we have looked at our gifts, and you know, people are more gifted in other areas, and yeah, we've done a lot of work on our giftings and things like that. Yeah.
Thank you. So thanks, Ruth. I think that's really helpful to acknowledge that this comes with a risk. If we're giving away power, if we're giving away control, if we're giving opportunities to people who haven't had any experience, or who don't look like the sort of leaders that we've had before, then that this is risky stuff, rather than just sticking to the familiar. Anyone else, actually practically, how have you managed to pass on the baton to the next generation of leaders? How have you actually done it? Anyone else want to share?
Yes, I can share.
Thank you. Is it OC?
Yeah, OC, All Nations in Plymouth.
Thank you.
That's the way we work ourselves, actually. We mentor our church members and leading them also in leadership. I have, like I was sharing before, I have 9 people from church who can preach. I can spend 3 months without preaching. And then I give them power and authority to lead. Our church, we have actually, we meet from Monday to Sunday. Monday, we have a prayer meeting. Tuesday, we have a evangelism for homeless. Wednesday, we open now this month with the Plymouth City Council. Is another opportunity to bring more community in. Every 6 o'clock to 9, we're welcoming people in the womb's place. They came in, then we organize choir to sing for them, testimonies. Thursday, we have a prayer meeting. And Friday, we have a young people and music. And Sunday, we have a service in the morning. After service, we have many groups. After many groups, 6 o'clock also, we open for the community to come in. All the program, I'm not involving, I give to the church member. They are leading deacons. Also, people they are done, the choir leaders, also the church members. We plant, one example, we planted like 6 churches, not in Plymouth only, abroad, Brussels, Germany, Sweden, Denmark. Then the way we do, we mentor the congregation Then when we see they can lead the church, we ask them, we choose someone we mentor who's going to lead them. And actually we never, that church, after we mentor them, they are going to lead, we don't call all nation. We ask them to give their own name as we move on. We don't keep it as our church.
Fantastic. That's so helpful. So you then give them the authority away to lead.
We give them authority to lead the church. If any problem happen, they can come to tell us.
Excellent.
One testimony I can give
well,
you.
Sorry to jump in. I just want to give someone else a chance, if I may, OC.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else had any experience? The other thing we were thinking about was, how does God fit in here? So has anyone experienced where they've identified a need and they've prayed that God will send the right person? Or how does the practical and the spiritual fit together? Anyone else want to speak on that? Or any other general comments? Anything from Southwest or South Wales that maybe on a different topic you want to bring out that kind of bubbled up as you were talking?
I'll make a contribution.
Thank you.
It's Andy from Croyd. I would. You talked just then about identifying a need and then bringing somebody in. We've just done it the other way round, which was someone began to share a dream. Someone began to share a vision about the regeneration of the chapel here in Georgia. And we spent about 4, 5, 6 months talking with them, praying with them, talking as a leadership team. And by God's amazing grace and the support of the SWBA Home Mission, we've been able to release that person. She's not ordained, she's a teacher. She's a primary school teacher, 2 or 3 days a week. And by God's grace and provision, we've been able to release her to work in the community as a community worker, community missioner. And her role is to use the chapel as a base and to help the church engage more widely with the community. We've been doing it for 2 or 3 months, and it's just been a phenomenal response. So I'm very, very keen on identifying the dreams and visions of the people in the membership. I believe, along with Francis Chan, that the church is full of wild animals who've got all sorts of visions and desires but given the resources, given the support, they're able to develop missional opportunities within the church, within the community, and that excites me. Not just trying to find a need and then find someone to fill it, but to find out the vision and the passions in people's hearts, and where possible, release them and support them. And that's what we've sought to do.
Thank you so much. Is there one final comment from someone? Anything that you really felt, yeah, this was of God as you talked? Yeah,
Peter in Gosport. Yeah, sorry, we lost internet in the other section of the today. We could try the pyramid model. At the moment, most churches run on the pastors at the top of the pyramid. And if you turn it over the other way, the pastors at the peak, but at the bottom, enabling all the levels of church to work above him. So therefore, when he goes, it's more an enabling task as well as a doing task, but it's not the peak of the pyramid where there's terrific pressure.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. So as we just draw this to a close, perhaps just center down now and just think about your own situation. And just think about, is there one thing that you can do straight away to enable you to have the best shot at succession, successful succession, as passing on the baton so that the ministry has a sustainable future. It may be that you've already identified someone and you need to start to give them risky opportunities. It may be that you know you need someone and you need to really pray specifically for God to send the person that you need. Or it may be that you need to kind of break the expectations of the organization of what they're looking for, of what they've had in the past. Let's just take a minute of quiet and just ask the Lord in your own heart, what's the one thing that you could do straight away to take this forward to the next step? Just a moment of quiet, and then we'll go back into our groups. We thank you, Lord, that you said, I will build my church and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. We thank you that this is your mission field, and in your grace, you invite us to join in. And so I pray, Lord, that you would enlarge our vision and raise our faith to dare to believe that you have plans for this ministry that you've called us to that are beyond us. And I pray you'd start to unlock the sense of what comes next and give us the courage and humility to release whatever needs to be released, to let go of whatever needs to be let go of, and to have eyes that see what you want to do next and show us what we need to do now to start to help you to bring that about. In Jesus' name, amen.